Hi, my name is Ken Rudin, and I run the Growth Lab here at Google. We're focused on helping product teams increase user acquisition, engagement, and retention by providing insights, best practices, services, and tools. In a prior video, I gave a quick overview of the product growth process, and what I'd like to do now is dive in a little deeper. We'll be covering 4 different areas. The first is the growth process itself, a quick review just to frame things. Then we'll get into magic moments and how you identify them, how you create a user flow diagram, and then how you build a growth model. Starting with the growth process itself, the main thing I want to focus on here is that there are always 2 parts to growth. There's user acquisition, of getting new users, and then there's the user retention part, which a lot of people seem to forget about and focus most of their energies on user acquisition. What I'm going to do today is focus mostly on user retention and user engagement. So there's an overall growth process that we follow, and there's 3 main phases to it. There's the understand phase, where the focus is understanding as much as you can about your users and how they're interacting with your product, where they're coming from, what they're doing in the product, how active they are, what they're engaging with, and so on. After you do that, once you understand as much as you can about how they're using your product, you can then identify growth opportunities and figure out things that you can change within the product to engage these users more and retain them longer. And then the last part is, once you've identified some experiments, you run these experiments, figure out what you learned from them, and iterate again and again and again. So we'll be focusing on the understand phase in the product growth process. In a prior video, I talked a little bit about the North Star metric and talked about what it really is the essence of how you define success for your product. It's really the one metric that you can use that will help indicate when you're adding more value to your users. With that in mind, I want to move to the next area, which is magic moments. So let's talk a little bit about how you identify a magic moment, and to start, we'll focus on what they are in the first place. So magic moments are user experiences. They're things that your users interact with that creates a positive moment for them. It's that aha moment. It's the moment where they start understanding, oh, I get this app. This part is really cool. This is really different. This is what makes it a unique app. This is why it's fun. I understand not just why I need something like this or want something like this, but why I will come back to it again and again. So it's really this notion of how do we get you to this point where these magic moments, there can be multiple, and there should be multiple within your app, where you're hooking the user. And the reason these things are so important is because with magic moments in mind, a key goal for activating your users and getting them engaged in your app is getting them to those magic moments as quickly as possible. So some examples here. In Google Maps, a magic moment is when you get a traffic alert before you leave. You automatically get something on your phone that tells you there's going to be traffic on the way home, and it gives you a way to route around it. You didn't have to do anything, it just helped you, and that's a great aha moment. Or in Google Photos, when you do something really interesting, like you search for pictures of your dog on the beach, and it somehow magically comes up with dozens of pictures of your dog on the beach. And you just think this is really, really useful. You don't think of it anymore as just a gallery for your photos. It's really a way to help you organize your photos and find them simply. In Facebook, when you log in and you see your friends, somehow it knows who your friends are and you see them online minutes after you sign in. That's an aha moment. That's a moment where you understand the value. Or eBay, where there's a whole bunch of things you were about to throw out, but you think, maybe I can sell them, maybe somebody else really wants them, and you end up getting money for something that you would have thrown out or just recycled. These are magic moments, and how you identify them, there's 2 elements. There's this qualitative part and a quantitative part. When you're thinking about qualitative, you want to think about a magic moment that aligns with what your app is focused on. In Google Maps, helping you get to places as fast as possible. That certainly aligns with what the product is about. Or in Facebook, helping you connect with your friends. Or in the Photos app, helping you find the photos that you cherish. All of these things meet the qualitative aspect of what a magic moment is. They help identify what's unique about your product or what the focus and the main purpose is of their product. The second part, which is really important, is there's a quantitative element. It's great to have these things that you think are unique values and that are really engaging, but the data has to actually agree with you. So you can identify a whole slew of things that you think are the main purpose of your product, and these would be really fun, unique experiences, but you also have to look at some data and identify that, yes, it actually is correlated with engagement. So if you have things that are aligned with the main purpose of your product and they are correlated with engagement, meaning the people who do these tend to be more engaged and more retained, those are your magic moments. So once you have these identified, the next thing to do is figure out how you get users to them and how you flow users through your app to get to these magic moments. And that's what I'll talk about in the next video.